with just over 48 hours after polls closed in an actual election for president, they want to ignore clear irregularities, rush to call states as one, and end the election. We will not stand for that. Every candidate in every office, from president down to the local level, has a legal right to examine and challenge irregularities that occur in the process of canvassing ballots. We intend to ensure that every lawful voter has their vote counted in accordance with the law, that observers are granted the access they are due under state law, and that any irregularities that have occurred, whether by malicious intent or incompetence, are investigated to the fullest extent allowed under our law. We will not give up on this process until every last issue has been uncovered and resolved. Today, we announced that the RNC has deployed legal teams in 4 states, including Georgia. We are here to investigate clear irregularities. You will hear the evidence of this later on, with vote counting and tabulation. We will work with state and local authorities to ensure that a legal count is conducted in accordance to the state's laws and that every vote is counted. It's crazy to us that the mainstream media would call a race like Arizona for Biden when our side still has enough votes to win. The margin right now is 47,000 votes. And in states like Pennsylvania and Michigan and Georgia, where in some cases the margin is only a few thousand votes, the media is so quick to try and claim those races are over and that Biden has won. If the shoe was on the other foot and President Trump was in the lead in all these states, the media would be screaming that the race is not over and we need more time to count and make sure it is right. Because Biden is in a very slight lead, the media demands the race is over, and there is nothing else to see here. The American people need to have confidence in their elections, and that is what we will pursue. Right now, we don't have that confidence because across the country, Democrat officials are shutting down transparency. Democrats are damaging the country in the process of a smooth transition of power by not allowing a transparent process. The Republican National Committee and the Trump campaign have deployed a team of legal experts to Georgia, and per usual, after the legal votes were in and tallied, unaccounted for ballots have continued to appear in Democrat stronghold counties. Other individuals that we'll be speaking to today will outline the evidence and what we have seen in irregularities in Georgia. But we cannot let this stand, and we will fight every irregularity to the very last because every voter deserves their vote to be counted, and they deserve to know whether or not these irregularities mean fraud. And we have to figure this out. It is now my pleasure and my honor to introduce the former governor of Georgia, Sonny Perdue.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name's Sonny Perdue, and I just happen to be the former governor, but I'm really more of a proud Georgia citizen. And I'm distressed today. Actually, I'm dismayed after 2 days after the election polls closed of the irregularities that I've heard reported here in Georgia. Folks, this is Georgia. This is not somewhere else. We take care of business in Georgia. What is happening in Georgia today? And that's why we're here, and that's why I'm here, because I have a vested interest in Georgia, not because of my history, but because of my future. 14 grandchildren are what I'm standing up for today for fair elections. Everyone here knows that elections are the cornerstone of democracy, and they've got to be fair, they've got to be accurate, and they've got to be safe and secure. And that's what elections are all about. We need to ensure, and we are for every legal vote being counted. Yes. But just as much as that, we're for every illegal vote to be thrown out. Yeah. It is distressing to see what's happened in some of our local counties regarding superintendents and transparency and issues like that. As you know, after the legal votes were in and tallied, we've heard of records of unaccounted for ballots appearing in various counties, and amazingly in Democrat stronghold counties. But as Ronna said, Trump victory, Georgia is committed to ensuring all these legal votes are counted. And up until this point, we've seen evidence and indications that the irregularities have occurred, and that's what we want to do. Folks, you know, I don't know if these reports are true or accurate, but frankly, the widespread reporting of them is just too much to ignore. And really, I don't think we can, I think we've got an obligation to investigate and investigate thoroughly and fully. I believe the reports are so overwhelming and blatant that we've got an obligation to investigate them and investigate them clearly. I fully believe that the citizens of Georgia deserve a fair, transparent election process with an accurate tally of legally cast ballots. Mission. It's a simple mission. We've always done voting here in Georgia in a simple way. The people of Georgia expect it. The mission is simple: to make sure that the election is accurate and a reflection of the people of the will of Georgia. This is the way democracy works. So I'm calling on, as a concerned citizen, not in any kind of status or anything else. I'm calling on the Secretary of State, calling on the governor, I'm calling on the legislature of Georgia, prior to any kind of certification of these elections, to make sure they are fair, accurate, and every legally vote is counted and every illegal vote is cast out. So this election is too important. This election is too important, and the great people of Georgia deserve transparency in a fair election and a fair results. Thank you all very much. And now I'd like to introduce somebody that needs no introduction, showman himself, Vernon Jones.
Hello, America. Hello, Georgia. Let me be frank and earnest. There's a dead cat on the end of this line, and it's stinking. It's stinking with fraud. It's stinking with lack of transparency. It's stinking with non-accountability. And it's stinking with those who call themselves wanting to have fair elections. It's stinking with their absence. Where is fair fight if you're standing up for people's rights and their right to vote, and every vote is counted, every legal vote is counted? Where is fair fight? I'll tell you where fair fight is. Fair fight to that crowd is fair when their man is still in the election. That's when it's fair to them. As a member of the Georgia General Assembly, 12-year member, it is my duty to speak up for every Georgian when their vote is not being counted, when their vote is not being counted accurately, and when there's all this type of irregularities taking place. Why haven't we called on Jimmy Carter to come? He can go to other countries and see their process through. And I don't mean that in a bad sense, because I like one of our native sons, President Carter, but he needs to be here if he's for fair votes, accountability, and transparency. That's what I like about Donald Trump. He travels with a set of twins. One named accountability and the other one named transparency. That's what I like about him. I've had Democrats, Republicans, black, white, gay, the whole across the whole state of Georgia. Matter of fact, across this country, saying what is going on in Georgia. I may not agree with your candidate, Vernon, but if they take my vote, if they take your vote away from you, they're taking my vote away from me. That's the American spirit. And what I see happen, this is a sham. This is a sham, and it's disgraceful. And criminal. I think it has the potential of criminality here. I just want, like every Georgian want, we want things to be done by the book. We can send a man to the moon, but we can't count votes accurately. I'm talking about the legal ones now. And we can't do it within 24 hours. How does a state the size of California get theirs in and Georgia can't get its in? That's because if you look, an example of the pandemic of failed leadership is where all these Democrats who are running these cities and overseeing these county elections, that's where you see, literally, I was getting ready to say something, but I'll be all over the damn news. Well, let me say this. I hope the news media learn from this. It's been you carrying the false narrative of these false polls coming from these liberal universities. And you and these pollsters have done more to interfere with this election than Russia and China combined. You have suppressed and depressed the voters of this country. But I'm going to tell you, we're going to fight. And last night I made a comment. We don't fight with violence. I'm not for violence. But we're going to fight to our last breath for our constitutional rights. To our last breath. And we'll take on Antifa, Black Lives Matter, Fair Fight, Stacey Abrams, and all of them, because we're going to do what's right for the people of Georgia. And I want to give everybody a number to call. If you think you've been slighted, because I'm getting calls and letters, I know many of you are, and I know the media's gotten it too. I want you to call 470-410-8793. Report your fraud or report what has happened to you. Don't be afraid. Come up. If I can go through what I've gone through standing up for Georgians in America, you can too. And I don't care. I'm going to fight. If my party is wrong, I'm going to fight them to the end. As a matter of fact, my party has been wrong. There should be members of the Black Caucus here right now. The Democratic Caucus should be here right now. The Democratic Party should be here right now. Because this is about democracy. Our elections, if we don't get elections right here, where else can we go and get them right? And so with that being said, we have been able to bring someone into the fold. And I'm talking about someone who's probably has one of the most brilliant minds, legal minds, in this country. Yes. If you think I'm lying, ask CNN and some of those others who attacked everyday people and tried to destroy their reputation and change their lives forever. Y'all join me in bringing in a fighter who's fighting for you, for Georgians, and this president. Y'all welcome Lynn Wu here.
Fight back. I love you too. If you're not behind the camera and you remember the media. How you doing? I was sitting around Tuesday night watching the election returns. I've loved politics all my life, since I first voted in 1972. And I saw what I assumed was going to happen. I saw President Trump building up what I believed was going to be almost a historic landslide victory.
It was.
And then all of a sudden, every network, including Fox News, started doing what they do best. They started lying to the American public. And they took a victory from Donald Trump and they called it a lie. They took a defeat from Joe Biden and lied and said he won. And they sent you to bed, turning off the count of the vote so you could wake up the next morning like I did and go, what happened? What happened? When I was asked by President Trump to help him in Georgia and perhaps in other places around this country, I said yes. When former Governor Perdue asked me to help him, and Vernon Jones asked me to help, and the Republican Party asked me to help, I said the same thing I said when Nicholas Salmon asked me to help him. I said the same thing I said when Kyle Rittenhouse asked me to help him. I said yes, because there is a cloud over this country. And if we don't get it right and we don't figure out what happened that night, that cloud is going to get darker and darker until it turns into a storm cloud, and we're going to lose our freedom. So it is time to fight back. I've heard over the past several months, maybe a little bit longer, they've almost neutered the word. Well, it's a constitutional crisis. This is a constitutional crisis. Let me tell you, this is a constitutional crisis. And if we don't fix it and find out what happened and get it right, we're going to lose our constitutional rights. I've been watching for some other clients. 43 years of practicing law. I never dreamed the day would come when I would be in the United States of America and there would be censorship. If they take away your right of free speech, what are they going to take away next? Where they limit your right to go to church, what are they going to take away next? When they take away your First Amendment, they're going to come after your Second Amendment. And then they're going to take away your due process. And then they're going to put you in jail because you're a dissenting voice to the ruling elite, and you're not even going to a jury trial. They're going to take away your constitutional rights. This is a constitutional crisis. So let's find out. Let's find out what happened. This is about truth versus lie. You heard former Governor Perdue say exactly right. Count every legal vote. Illegal votes don't count. Illegal is illegal. So let's find out what happened. Let's find out what happened when they sent home the Republican spotters and then stayed around and counted votes in Fulton County for 3 hours. Let's find out what happened. Because something happened. There are no coincidences. There is an explanation, and when something doesn't make sense, it's usually false. It's certainly less than the truth. We need truth. We need, like when you swear in a witness, you don't say tell the truth, you say tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. This is a nation founded under God. Don't ever forget that. A lot of voting by mail this year. Just happened to coincidentally occur in large part because of COVID. There are no coincidences. And where is the potential fraud, or the fraud, if you want me to be totally accurate? It's in the mail-in votes. If you don't think this was planned, go home. Plandemic. I know Mickey Willis that did that. I helped him do it. If you don't think this was planned, enjoy losing your freedoms under the Kamala Harris administration. And she's not going to be running this country. There are going to be people running this country that are rich, they're globalists. Some don't even live here. A lot of them are involved with foreign countries. It's time to tell the truth and be truthful and face the truth. This country is under attack. This was nothing more than a revolution. They're trying to take away your rights. They're trying to take away your Constitution. They're trying to take away, ultimately, your freedom. Don't let them do it. Donald Trump has fought for the people. That's why the people voted for him. I watched President Trump when he spoke that night. He had to be tired. I know he had been out in an almost unbelievable stretch of campaign speeches, 2 or 3 days in a row into the 2 a.m. hour. And he didn't seem like himself. And then he spoke yesterday, and you can see that he's troubled because he sees what's being done to the people. And you can say whatever you want to about President Trump, but I will tell you this. He ran for president because he wanted to help the people. And it's nice to see Ronna here and former Governor Perdue and Vernon Jones. I'd like to see Lindsey Graham and Nikki Haley. I'd like to see the Republicans stand up. I'd stand up for this president. I've watched him for 4 years, and he's been out there fighting for the people, and he's almost been always fighting by himself. Fighting against the Democrats, fighting against the Republicans, fighting against China, fighting against Iran, fighting against Russia. It's time for us to fight for Donald Trump. We want to find out if there's double voting. 1.6 million absentee ballots, a record. Was there double voting? We got to investigate it. People registering in Georgia to vote, then changing their registration to another state to vote. Was there double voting? We've got to investigate it. Triple. I mean, look at Detroit. There are rumors there that they had a record turnout by people that are in excess of 100 years old. I don't mean to judge the results of the investigation, but I know that there's got to be one. Everybody would like to have woken up on November the 4th and found that we knew who our president would be. And nobody wants to have to sit through day after day and endure the chads. Thank gosh we don't have chads this time. Nobody wants to sit around day after day after day after an exhausting campaign to try to figure out who's going to be president, especially at a time when the presidency has never been more important in terms of world affairs. But let me tell you what we got to do. We got to wait. We've got to have patience. Because if we don't do this right and take the time to do it right, God help us if we get it wrong. So thank you for letting me be a part of this today. I thank the President of the United States for asking me to help him. I want you to all fight back. Fight back for America. Thank you. USA! 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 USA!
I just want to end and echo Lynn's statement of being patient. Everyone has talked about being patient. The media, Joe Biden. The irregularities we have seen are concerning. In Michigan today, we announced a whistleblower who was told to backdate ballots. That's illegal. An election official who was told by people in the room that many of the election officials were also told to backdate ballots, to make them legal against state law. These are the type of irregularities not only should we be pursuing, but the media should be pursuing. Every American deserves to have faith in our election integrity. And this is what we're asking. Let the ballots be counted. There's many, many military ballots still out here in Georgia. Just be patient and wait. Please don't rush to call. And please take these allegations and these irregularities seriously, because they're important to our democracy. And that's all we're asking for today. We're going to pursue them. We have a hotline where we are taking tips. We are getting statements. We will be getting affidavits. And then we will be making legal actions when necessary. We're not going to jump the gun. This is a long process, but please be patient and allow us to pursue those irregularities. That's the fair thing to do for everyone who voted, who wants surety that our elections are fair and honest. So thank you all so much. Keep moving. Are we taking questions from the press? Okay, we can take some questions from the press if we want. Oh, Mike, you run. Excuse me?
What can we do? What can we do?
So we do have some irregularities we're looking at. Again, we are not going to jump the gun, but they are serious, and we want to take a look at them before we go out and push that until we fully vet them and make sure they're real.
President Trump has been saying he wanted the election called on election night, so why is it now waiting for so long?
Well, we want all the military ballots counted. We want the military ballots counted. They have a due date today in Georgia. So let's make sure that that gets through. We want every legal vote counted. The president has been saying that. But these irregularities do need to be pursued. If you have an irregularity, go to the hotline 470-410-8793 and also to djt45.com/stop fraud. But this is a patience thing. I'm only taking press questions right now. But this is a patience thing. You know, everybody should have that assurity. What is concerning is in Democrat county after Democrat county, poll watchers were pushed out, specifically in Michigan. How does that make you feel faith in the process? Why can't you observe? Allow everybody to have transparency. That's all we're asking for, Democrats and Republicans. That is called fairness in the election. And what we've seen so far is that didn't happen consistently across the state of Georgia. And we will be pursuing those irregularities and bring that evidence forward after we vet them.
Ronnie, you said that at the beginning that you would be laying out specific violations, and we haven't heard any yet.
So I do have some specifics. I was told to hold off on sharing those, but I do have some specifics. We're gonna wait until the attorneys look at it. But the specifics we have in Georgia are very serious. Again, I'm not going to run and rush to judgment and push allegations out until we vet them first. And that's the right thing to do. But what I will say is the allegations we have are serious enough that they should be vetted, that they should be.
How many examples have been reported?
About 6 or 7. Well, I'll talk to you about Michigan specifically. And I know that's not your state. As we get these hotlines in, we had poll workers who have put statements in place that they had found ballots that should have been thrown out, put in the spoiled pile, and then put back into the regular pile. We have this whistleblower who said they were told to backdate ballots, specifically by an election official, a former, allegedly a former director of elections in Michigan. We have actually taken that to the U.S. Attorney in the Eastern Court of Michigan. So these are the types of things we're seeing. Being pushed out of polling places, falsifying the number of Republicans that are there, and then as Republicans go to the bathroom or take breaks, not allowing them back in to observe. Right now in that state, we're not even able to observe the canvas right now. You have to stay 20 feet away. How can you meaningfully observe when you're 20 feet away? So these are the types of things we're pushing for. Transparency, make sure people have the right to observe the canvases, give us time to pursue these irregularities, and help us pursue them yourselves as we push out.
One more right here. One more right here.
Madam Chair, you didn't characterize the counts that we saw Tuesday night this way, but some other speakers characterized some of the big early leads we saw for the president in certain states as evidence that he had won, and then all of a sudden votes were being found. But what we saw, for example, the reverse in North Carolina, where they had counted absentee ballots that the Biden campaign had prioritized, and he had the lead, and President Trump came back and looks in position to maintain that lead. Do you share some of the concerns of your fellow Republicans that just that order that we saw in, say, Pennsylvania and Michigan, is that in a macro sense? Just the way that people voted and the way we count?
Well, we knew there were going to be ups and downs as absentee came in and election day vote. And some states vary them. No, we don't. We know that that's going to be what we have concerns about are states that would not give us the full total of absentee ballots that were outstanding. We could not get a count on that. I think that's troublesome. Let us know. I mean, we should be able in this day and age to say this is how many absentee ballots came in before Election Day from the Secretary of State. So those are types of things. We are due for some election reform in this country. Clearly, we have problems where people are feeling disenfranchised and we're not getting meaningful answers and these counts are lasting so long. So we need to fix some things. But right now, what I'm saying is we've seen some irregularities that are serious enough that we want time to investigate them. We're going to go through the proper procedures. We're going to take them to the attorneys. We're going to vet the claims. We're going to make sure they're valid. And then we will bring them to you. But that is something we need time for. And with Georgia having a recount, we should have that time for that.
Great, thank you. We got to run.
Thank you.